Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny, we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today we're going to be putting some perennials into these new no-dig flower beds that I just created last weekend. Come with me and let's see how we do it. I need to first state that my fashion choices for today are 100% practicality. We're already at, I think, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. It's only 9:30 in the morning and the humidity level is through the roof. I have no idea. It's hot. It feels like a sauna out here. So this is definitely needed to keep the, let's say, the glow out of my eyes. So it's not the most beautiful thing ever, but it's certainly practical. I've got my sunscreen on, I've got my bug spray on, and I will be keeping myself cool with the hose today, using all my best tips for gardening in the hot weather. Okay, so you may remember that I made these two new no-dig flower beds. They currently consist of sod, on top of which there's cardboard or pressed board, and then on top of that there's some composted cow manure compost, and then on top of that there is some shredded hardwood bark mulch. Not bark, no. Shredded hardwood mulch. Shredded hardwood mulch. Shredded hardwood mulch. Yeah, there we go. I've got my supplies here. My trusty Biotone starter fertilizer, which gets all my plants off to a great start. My plant material and my tools. For my tools today I'll be using this spade that I love so much. And I brought out a hand trowel and my hori-hori in case I need to cut some roots apart. For plants, I have 6 of these amazing daisies from Proven Winners, and most of them are very pot bound, so they're going to need to be addressed probably with the hori-hori. 6 of those, and then I have 4 Millennium Allium. These particular plants are not yet blooming, so I'm hoping to get them into the ground and well situated so that they can bloom their little happy heads off in the coming weeks. The ones that I have planted in the backyard right now are in full bloom. They are so gorgeous. I'm excited to have them out here. These garden beds started out being somewhat symmetric. They're roughly the same shape on either side of the flower bed, although I think this one on the right is just a smidge bigger because of, well, just because I'm not perfect. And then each of them has a dwarf Burford holly, a sunshine ligustrum, and a spilled wine weigela. Spilled wine, sunshine, and dwarf Burford. On this side we have the lamppost and then some dahlias that I grew from seed. These are the Unwin's mix dahlias. And then on this side, instead of a lamppost, we have a magenta, what is that? A magenta chiffon rose of Sharon. I don't care about being perfectly symmetric from here on out with the plants that I put in. I think the shrubs will give a nice concept of symmetry. The balance of the Rose of Sharon, as it grows taller, it will balance out the lamppost a little bit. And so the perennials and annuals that I end up putting in here over time, they don't have to be symmetric in my opinion. So although we'll see, maybe my natural tendencies will be to make them symmetric anyway. These flower beds are brand new. I just made them last weekend. They have sod topped with cardboard, topped with composted cow manure, topped with mulch. And so they're not exactly wonderful deep for planting quite yet. So there's a strong chance that these root balls are going to be deeper than the cardboard. So in that case, I'm going to kind of spread the root balls out a little bit and make them a little bit wider and shallower so that they can fit on top of the cardboard. Eventually the cardboard is going to break down and the roots will be able to grow into the ground underneath. But for now, I'm just going to be planting them pretty much right on top of the cardboard. All right, so this has got a wonderful root system. I'm going to roughly take this clump and split it roughly in half. And I'm not able to just tease them apart, so I'm going to use my hori-hori. And this might look a little bit drastic, but it's going to be okay, I promise. All All right, so the good news with regard to the depth of the root ball is that there's lots of good roots, but the bulbs are pretty shallow. So these will pretty much thrive by planting them just right on top of this compost. Now I did tear off a little bit of that root ball, but there's still plenty of roots here. And I'm going to put this into the ground. Right here. Look, my cardboard is already composting under there. So that's good news because now these roots will be able to grow down into the soil. Okay, now I'm going to do the same process with this plant. I just realized I forgot to put the starter fertilizer in the root planting hole, so I'm just going to top dress a little bit. I selected these locations for these daisies. However, I'm going to be dividing this one, and probably this one. Probably leave this one the way it is. So I'll end up with probably 2, 4, 5 instead of just 3. Oh, this is quite root bound. I'm going to cut this with my knife. You could also cut it with a spade. Or you can use an old kitchen knife. I like the serrated edge, it helps. Well, that's tough. I'm going to finish that with my spade. It's just really difficult. All right, this is not going easy. There we go. The crown of this plant was really, really dense and difficult to cut. All right, I could cut this into another to make 4 plants, but I think I'll just go with this. It's a nice clump that'll grow next year nicely. And I do have 2 buds on here, so that's nice. Let me go ahead and cut this one while I'm cutting. Now, you don't have to cut them apart right now. You could just plant them as they are, but this one especially would need dividing next year, so I might as well do it now. All right, so now I've got 2 nice clumps there, 2 nice ones there. This one I think I'll leave. It's not as well developed as the others. I'll just loosen it up a little bit. All right, so I'm trying to think ahead. I'm gonna want annuals here next year. So with that in mind, let me pick my planting spots. I think I'm gonna just start them here and bring them this way. This is really not very deep right here, so I'm gonna make these roots a little shallower. forgot my fertilizer again. As these shrubs grow, these plants are going to have to be moved. I know that, but I'm planting for early years right now, I guess. Now, some of you might be thinking, Jenny, you should really be cutting into that cardboard and putting them deeper into the soil. And I'm going to say, maybe you're right, but I don't know. So I'm going to try this. These plants were really inexpensive, and I think it's worth the effort to see if this method works. So that's what I'm going to do. But thank you for your concern. I'll be sure to update everybody and let you know how it goes. All right, I am pretty darn happy with this. I'm going to be making sure that this does not dry out. For now, I think I'm not going to be putting anything else in here. At least I have no current plans to put anything else in this flower bed this year. Who knows what I'll find that just has to come in here, but for now, this is what it is. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the other side with the lamppost and get those plants in the ground as well. Some viewers have asked how it's going, keeping the mulch and the soil off of the sidewalk. And I'll say it's really easy. This soil that's here right now is from my work today, and there wasn't any on the sidewalk before I started. So I think the shredded hardwood mulch is really good at kind of knitting together onto itself and staying in place, especially if you water it in. Well, they're planted and I like the way they're coming together. There's not a ton of things blooming right now, but I can see it in my mind's eye how it's going to look next year over the course of the spring, summer, and fall seasons. I will be adding some spring bulbs to these beds this fall, but that's about all I plan to add in for the rest of this growing season. I'm eager to see how these daisies do after I divided them and put them in on top of the cardboard. And I'm hoping that these Millennium Alliums will bloom beautifully and maybe even send up additional shoots over what they have so far. I'm eager for those. Oh, it's going to be so great. This side I ended up planting a little bit differently. I divided the 3 daisies into 6 plants instead of just 5 like over there. So I put 2 of them right here and 4 of them back here. And so I did kind of wreck the symmetry, but I think it's going to be balanced and it'll be just fine. Thanks so much for joining me on this hot, steamy morning. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you'll come back again soon. Have a wonderful day in your garden, friends. Bye-bye.